Hi there and welcome to my channel. Welcome to returning viewers, welcome to new viewers. If you're new, I hope that you find content that will persuade you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that every Tuesday when I issue or publish a new video, you'll get notified. This is my temperature blanket that I'm going to share with you today. So it has been a journey deciding on making the temperature blanket. It's the first time that I've ever made one and it's new. So now I'm going to share with you how I came to make the decisions I made in making it. This is how I store it, which is why I'm sharing this with you. So in the lid, I feel the way that I go about doing it is the easiest for me. In the lid, I have pasted the page with all the months, the days of the month up to 31. So every day I would write down, the temperature. Not every day, every week I go to a certain site. Now I know some people say that the temperature might be wrong, but I make use of only one site. Yes, I think if I go to one site this week and another site next week, there will be differences. But I don't do that. I stick to one site, a local website, and I will put the local website in the description box. So here is my pen stuck. I don't have to go looking for a pen. The pen is right there so that every week, Saturday and Sunday, Saturdays and Sundays I put aside to do this blanket so I don't fall behind. And then I just do my 7 rows. That's all I have to do. And I'm going to put this to one side because I'm going to show you the hook that I'm using is a 2.25. Where's my glasses? There it is. No, let's just make sure of that. A 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. My favorite, which is the plain old hook, is my favorite. And this is what my blanket looks like so far, done in, now we are in South Africa, Southern Hemisphere. So it's hot up to the white stripe. That's January. February is one of our hottest months. Now this is March, finished March, and we're going into April. Every month is divided by 2 rows of white. I said granite stitch, seed stitch. Let me bring it closer so you can see what it looks like. You see that? There we go, like that. Now I don't have any edges to work in. Why? Because I'm using what I call, if you've been watching my tutorials, I call it the pinky method, and there's nothing, I just call it that because it's pinky magic, because it's a magic knot. But I measure with my pinky the width of that little piece that's left. Then I just make sure that the magic knot falls on that exact spot. But in my tutorials, I show how to do it. And that's how I do it. So there is no ends to work in. Yes, I will be doing a border because you can see. Let me show you close up. This is what the edge looks like. You see there? I don't want it to blow out. But can I bring it closer like that? So like that. Yes, that helps. So what you see there is, it's not totally smooth. So you do need, I would put a border around this. Even if it's just 3 single crochets and then again pick a spot and 3 single crochets that looks like a double crochet that you usually put around the edge of a baby blanket or a baby washcloth, just to round it off nicely, beautifully. So that's what I would do, something very simple. So what kind of yarn am I using? I am in the Southern Hemisphere. I said we use Celsius. So our temperatures go from minus a 10 and minus, it never really gets that cold here, right? So that is very cold. And then 31 and up, what I did was I actually went and wrote down all the temperatures of last year. That is very quite a good, and I mean, I took 2 days to do just all my research. I watched, I tell you which one was the most helpful. TLYC. The advice she gave was, to me, the best. So I followed her advice. The only regret I have is that I don't have 4 rows of white. Let me just make my yarn a little bit neater before I show you. The only regret I have is that I don't have 4 rows of white. You know those 2 rows of white? 2 rows of white, 2 rows of white. I would have liked that to be 4 rows of white. Okay, so now let me show you my yarn. And I have another thing, little tip that I did that I find very helpful is, just want to see, because the yellow is attached, because I wasn't sure if the next day was also going to be yellow. So let me just try and tilt this in a way that will be clear to you, right? So this is, I attached the temperatures to the balls. So that is 13, 12, 11, 10 and below 10. It never gets that cold here. If I use 6 rows of this, it's going to be a lot. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 degrees Celsius, 15, 16 degrees Celsius, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 and over. And that's how I feel. Like that beetroot. That's what my cheeks feel like on a 31 and over degree Celsius day. Hot. So I wanted, this is just a bit of stock. I wanted to feel the temperatures. I wanted to be able to look at my blanket at the end of the year and feel how I'm shivering of the cold, which is why I'm purple, or how hot it is. It was so hot that I feel like beetroot cheeks, you know. So this is what I did. So now it's not a question of putting little pieces of yarn of each ball on a page and writing next to it the temperature, because what if I look there and I see the color and I come to this and I pick the wrong one by mistake? You don't want mistakes in your temperature blanket, because you're not going to pull out all those rows. You don't want to discover a week later you've made a mistake. No, 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 no siree. Anyway, so this is how I'm just storing it. I just fold it flat. And you know, the moss stitch it's as thin as knitting. I mean, you've probably heard that before. It's as thin as knitting. I don't know if you can see how thin it is. It's thin as knitting. Let me just show you the yarn, and then we are done with this little video of my temperature blanket. And the yarn is, I'm going to take a new ball. It's Kartopu Flora. Let me just show you. It doesn't blow out, does it? Is it too much light here? Kartopu Flora. Can you see the name there, right? And this is that beetroot red. Now it looks wine red here. I think there's too much light here. Anyway, but it is 230 meters on a 100 gram ball. I'm using a 3.25 hook, because it says 3.5 to 4 knitting needle. And because my blanket size is going to be 60 inches by 60 inches, or 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter, that is not so big, you know, because it's quite an investment to go and buy all this yarn at one time. It's a lot. It's a big expense. So that's why I took about 2 to 3 days to make sure on paper what was the temperatures last year, so that I know of this ball, I won't get through one ball, you know. Probably not, because my blanket isn't that big. I'm using a stitch that is the smallest, which is a single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one. But I love the way that the color dips like a granny square. You know, if you have a granny square, and every row is a different color, the color would dip into the other color like it does here. It would have that same effect. That is what I like. So I am going to tag TLYC in this video because she is the one that gave me the best advice. Thank you so much, Toni. I really appreciate it, and I think your 2020 and temperature blanket is gorgeous to die for, which is why I regret that my white stripe is not a little bit. It should have been like 4 rows, not 2. Anyway, I can always change that in the future when I make another one. I am not pulling out. Anyway, so what else is there? I think that is it, because now you see this. I'm not touching this until Sunday. So it goes closed like this, all neat and tidy, into my project box container. And this goes just on top of my little cupboard. And it's nice and clean, and I touch it on the weekends. When I'm watching DIY Creations going live, or I'm watching Affordably Crafty Kim and Yarn Geek Ginger, when the two of them go live on 8 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning. That is lovely to watch. Yes, so that's when I do my temperature blanket. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Tell me if you're making a temperature blanket. Have you made one? How many have you made? Maybe you've made one every year. I would like to go back and make one of 2020 because it was such a momentous year. And I already have all the temperatures. So I would actually like to do that. That is on my list of things to do. So, okay, I'm going to love and leave you, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.